What's going on, folks? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. It is Friday. This is Friday Night Live, and we have a show. I am in the middle of doing something. I want to keep doing this really quick because it's going to be very important for an announcement that I have up top of the show. Basically, I'm getting my next Whatnot show ready, so I'll get back to that. But let me say what's up to some folks, guys. Man, I'll tell you, it was a day. I was lucky to get. I say this often. I was lucky to get here in time to do the show. Good thing I put it later. I was going to do a 4:30 show, but here we are, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. What's going on to all the early birds here? Dale, stop by. Look, I wore my Montreal Expos hat because. Happy Canada Day. That's right. I'm repping for my neighbors up north. That's what's up. I still need to get myself over to BC, Vancouver. Peter's in the house. Raising Elm is here. Sport Boom. We got Tony T. Viper GTS. Old man. How? What's going on? E-Dub's in the house. Johnny Sanchez. Sean's here. Spider Dude. X11. Vinny. Good to see you, Vinny. It's been a while. Hope all is well. So, yeah. Repping for all my Canadian neighbors. I know Peter is here from Canada. Mountain Comics and Toys. Fred. Iron Shell, Sacktown, the Bay Area, and back down. Cali is with it, put they Mac down. All right, guys, so we have a show today, but as I always like to do, few minutes, let some folks get in here. We got a few announcements. Look, we're going to open a little package before we get into the main topic of discussion. Hope you guys don't mind. So I have an amazing Whatnot show coming up. So I know my last few shows have been sales have been like bargain sales. Anybody that's hung out or participated, a lot of $1 starting auctions, $2 starting auctions. Fun to get stuff on the cheap, but not a lot of depth there, right? My next show on Whatnot is going to be my massive Spider-Man sale. All things Spider-Man, everything Spider-Man. Anything Spider-Man related. So we're going to have Amazing Spider-Man Run, Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, McFarlane Spider-Man, Modern Spider-Man, Silver, Bronze, Copper Spider-Man. We're going to have Venom stuff, Carnage stuff. We're going to have Spidey appearing in the Avengers books or some X-Men books or just wherever Spidey shows up. Spider-Woman, maybe some Spider-Gwen, right? Everything Spider-Man, some keys, some minor keys, some run fillers. It's going to be massive. So, Colton, what's going on, Colton? Serge, Ian, Comic News Network, what's good? Matt Labno. Oh man, we got a lot of good folks here today. So this is what I'm doing, guys. I don't have a video for it yet because you can add a little video to the sale. I am going live right now. Set your calendars. You can find the link to my Whatnot down below. If you're not signed up for Whatnot yet, you use that link and you sign up. You'll get $10 off of your first purchase. It doesn't have to be a purchase from me. It could be from anybody on the app. But here we go. I got to select the category. Comic books. What? This is the one thing. Guys, I encourage you to reach out to the Whatnot folks. They have modern, bronze, silver, golden, but no copper age. They need to add copper age. It matters. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a bronze age show because probably the bulk of it is bronze, maybe copper, but it's all over the place. All right. Friday, July 22nd. That's what? Is that 3 weeks from now? 3 weeks from today, my massive Spider-Man sale, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Boom, I just scheduled it. So if you guys go find me, Journos Comics on Whatnot. There's the sale. Go, click the note, click the, what do you call it? The bookmark. click the bookmark. As of, I don't know about tonight, but this weekend for sure, I will start adding books in. I already got a lot of books ready to go in. I got them graded and priced. Some ASM. Oh, here's the first cameo of Eddie, supposedly, right? Well, we're a little hot on the light today there, guys. Sorry. Some Bronze Age Amazing Spider-Man, the second appearance of Captain Britain, some more Bronze Age Spider-Man, second appearance of Taskmaster, some early 20-cent Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, I just grabbed a handful, and this is what we got, but tons of stuff, modern stuff, like I said. We got some awesome like Carnage variants and stuff. So, guys, I will be adding all of my inventory. We got 3 weeks to almost every day until the sale. I will be adding more and more inventory. Most of it will be available for buy it now. So you'll have a buy it now sticker price that you could purchase it for beforehand, kind of like a pre-order, secure order. I do guarantee that all of my prices beat all of the major online retailers for sure. Matthew Kelly, what's going on? Symbiote. There might be some mild stuff. Symbiote. Probably not too much, but definitely some. Venger. What's going on, Venger? Lowbrow. What's up, Lowbrow? Okay, so one other thing. Oh, by the way, folks, if you guys aren't aware, I'm going to open this package as I talk, and then we're going to get into our main topic of discussion. For those that aren't aware, and I'm going to assume some of you aren't, I do a show with my co-host, Jeff, every Sunday on the Comic Book Canon YouTube channel. It's called Comic Book Canon. And if you guys aren't subscribed to us over there, you should definitely do so. That link is in the description below as well. We have an awesome show coming up in 2 days on Sunday. We were supposed to have an amazing special guest, James, aka Mint Hunter Comics. If you guys aren't subscribed to Mint Hunter, man, you got one of my favorite YouTubers. Absolutely, love what he does. He had a family emergency, so he's going to be joining us next show. So not the show in 2 days, but the following show. So that's going to be an awesome show. All right, guys. So I got a book here that I got off of Whatnot. I already had this book, but I had some Whatnot credit. So I just, I pop into shows here and there. And it was going for a pretty low bid, decently low bid for this book. So I bought it. And it is, are you ready? Very nice, high grade. Black Panther #1. This is the mini series from the 80s. Really nice, high grade. So I already had this, so I'll either maybe use this in a giveaway, or who knows, maybe I'll sell it again one day. But there it is, folks. Really awesome, I think, underrated limited series of Black Panther right there. Boom. And I'm rocking the Black Panther shirt today as well. So pretty cool. I mean, I would say this is definitely, just from looking at it in the bag, probably a 9.2 at least. Couple of non-color breaking spine ticks. Nice. All right, folks. Guys, we have something to talk about today. We do. Dude, J.R. Ryan, what's going on? Let me get the water, guys. Let me get the water. We got a lot of things to talk about today. And I know, look, I don't. Somebody, like, before we went live was already commenting saying, Sickotron was saying, I have a feeling that this is a misleading headline, misleading title. Jeremy, what's going on? And it's not going to be misleading. Now, of course, it's a title that you guys could have read, and you guys could take it in a multitude of different ways, right? But done with comics. Now, I didn't say I'm done with comics. I said done with comics. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to approach this from a few different aspects. I am going to approach it from a personal standpoint, guys. A personal standpoint of me feeling a certain type of way right now in my life as a collector. All right. Dale, everyone's going to be sending me their addresses. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. I'm going to start off with a bit of a personal perspective, and we're going to kind of 360 and end it off at the end of the show tonight, circling back around and summing things up. I'm also going to talk about being done with comics from a perspective outside of myself, from what I hear from a lot of people in the hobby and in the community right now. And we're going to address a few different things that I think is probably on a lot of different people's minds as collectors about having feelings about wanting to be done with comics. We're going to address them all, folks. Are we ready? We ready to do this again, guys? If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'm here practically 7 days a week making content for you guys. Would definitely appreciate you guys being here and hanging out every Friday night live for these shows, and of course watching all the videos that I pump out every single week for you guys. So let's get into this. Brandon Looney Tunes, what's going on? Okay, guys, personal perspective. We're going to put all of this on the table first. I've hit a place in my life where there's a lot of uncertainty, and this is outside of comic books. And I might get a little deep here. I'm not going to get too personal, but I want you guys to have perspective. The last couple of years for a lot of us have been crazy, right? It's been a whirlwind for me with my livelihood, my financial status, family, kids, self-reflection, where I'm at in my life, my age, getting older, and just trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be right now. It's been a really crazy couple of years. Anxieties, traumas, comic books and having this platform have done so much for me over the last almost 2.5 years. I'm at a point right now, though, where I am a bit overwhelmed by comic collecting. Evan, what's going on, Evan? I recently, earlier this year, probably, I don't know, a few months ago now, I hit 20K in my PC, meaning, I use my CLZ app to catalog all of my comics, and I was at 20K. I have that a good few thousand of books that's in my inventory to sell, that's in my business inventory. And then I had some boxes that were just taking a long time to enter into my CLZ app. But right now I have 20,342 books in my CLZ app. 20,342. And I know there's more, again, outside of my inventory to sell. I probably have at least like 400 more that aren't in there. 20,000 comic books was a goal that I had for many years. And I'm going to tell you guys, it's all because of one guy. It's one person's fault. Pedro, Terry, what's going on, guys? Don, the comic book junkie. If you guys are familiar with Don, I consider him a good friend of this community, because without his channel, I wouldn't have probably started making YouTube content. And he's not a big glorified YouTuber that sits there for the glamour and the glitz of it. He's just a guy showing off his comics and doing what he loves within the hobby. And they don't call him the junkie for no reason. And I remember when this man hit 20K. He's like at over 30K now. But Dawn hit, David, what's going on? Dawn hit 20K. And I think at that time I was maybe at like 14K myself. And I was like, I got to catch up to Dawn Comic Book Junkie. And I've always been a bargain collector and a bin hunter, right? You know, a bargain bin hunter. I'm a collector of runs. So, and I've always been somebody, at least as an adult, you know, especially that's been on a budget. I never really been in a situation where I've had hundreds and hundreds of dollars spent at the time, let alone thousands. So even when I bought key books, I have to pace myself and set money aside and you know, really manage my financial situation. But once I hit the 20,000 number and it came to fruition and I realized it and I was no longer romanticizing the idea, I'm looking around in here and I literally have, you guys can't see it. You might be able to see it. Yeah, you guys can see it. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 boxes of comic books that I purchased. Oh, that's not even all because I got, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 boxes of comic books that I purchased over the last however many months that I've just thrown into these boxes because I can't keep up with organizing. So the bulk of my PC is separated by publisher, and then within the publisher, it's alphabetized. I work multiple jobs. I'm exhausted all the time. I don't sleep. And I buy some books, and they just sit in these random boxes. I'm not rebagging and boarding them. Some of them still aren't even bagged and boarded. And I'm not putting them where they belong. And I'm just overwhelmed by it. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what's the point? What is the point? Can I join you? Oh, man. 40K, man. That's huge. Yep. Woo! You're next. What's going on? I'm trying to downsize from 25K to about 5K. Yeah, so I'm throwing this out there, guys. I'm overwhelmed. And I'm starting to look at my collection. And you know, and a lot of it has to do with my current financial situation and saying like, okay, I'm already scaling back buying. I haven't bought much like this whole year. But I'm at a point where I'm contemplating, okay, now that I hit the mark, do I need it? Do I need all these comics? So do I start selling some of my PC? Because I'm always buying collections to sell for the business. Do I take some of my PC and add it to that? Make some more revenue, bring some more revenue in, pay some bills? That's kind of where I'm at. I'm sitting here with these thoughts that I never had before as a collector. Vincent, what's going on, Vincent? 450 and you're thinking the same thing. The point is you love it and it makes you happy. Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, David. That should be the point. You need to love it and it needs to make you happy, right? So now we're going to leave this door open, right? About how I'm sitting here with this a bit of a conundrum thinking, do I scale back? Do I sell some of the PC? Do I need all of this? Am I changing once again as a collector? That's the big question mark. And that's okay. I will tell you guys, it's okay. We go through phases as collectors, and that's all right. Sometimes you feel like eating Mexican food. Sometimes you feel like eating sushi. Sometimes you may want to collect this way. Sometimes you want to switch it up and do this. That's what adds fun to this hobby, right? So with my financial situation and with hitting this mark, I got all these questions, right? Now, let's set that aside for a minute and let's go to another factor. Now, this is personal still. Working in comics. is changing my, I don't want to say my perspective, but it's changing my attitude in the way I feel about the hobby. Now, when I say working in comics, I mean two things. One, selling comics. And two, of course, which I do all online. And two, being Journo's Comics. And one half of Comic Book Canon. So let's address the latter first. Being Journo's Comics and doing Comic Book Canon and all that I do here. Now, for you guys that watch my channel, you guys know that ever since I made this channel a business just over 2 years ago, I wanted to embrace the hobby in all aspects, all areas of the hobby. I wanted to be a go-to place. This channel is a go-to place for all different types of collectors. I never wanted to single out a certain sector of collectors or blackball a certain other sector of collectors. If you are a hoarder and you like to collect runs and just massive amounts of comics, fine. If you're a reader, if you collect trades and not even floppies, if you're a long-term investor, if you're a speculator, if you're a flipper, whatever you want to call yourself, however you want to enjoy the hobby, I wanted my channel to have something for you. And it's that's still the case. And I think I've done a decent good job about that. I hope you guys would agree. I diversify from talking about investments to speculation to organizing to hauls, your standard unboxing and hauls and how I'm collecting, pressing tips, cleaning tips, bagging and boarding tips, comic book tips, market tips, again, in investing, long-term, short-term, all these things. I've covered it all. And I continue. I'm a journalist. I talk about hot topics, what's going on with CGC or CBCS or local LCSs or, go collecting, key collector, and all these different things. And I bring these discussions to the table and I address them. And, I bring the passion and the business side and the analytics to it and the analytical thinking, the critical thinking. So you guys could sit and, maybe you don't necessarily agree 100% with everything I'm saying, but at least I'm sitting here allowing you to look at the situation and critically think about it. All these different things. This is what I want. This is why I'm here. This is what I want to bring to you guys, right? Keith, what's going on, Keith? So, if you look at my videos as of late, like all year, really, 2022, I've scaled back on my speculation and investing videos. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have. I've scaled back. I still do my weekly top 10, which we've kind of revamped a bit over the last however many months. I pick now we do the week later. We take last week's top 10 list from Cover Price, which is based on data, units sold. And I look at it a week later and crunch the numbers myself over that current week to see, well, they hit the top 10, but what are they doing after that week? And then I give it a props or a flops. And I still do my monthly trending, like hot keys trending for this month. I usually pick 4 or 5 books that are trending hot for one out of a few different reasons. I just published that video yesterday for the month of June, right? But man, I think that I've done the top 25 keys to invest in for under $25 or, top road keys to invest in. That was more of a recent one I did, top road keys to invest in. And I love those because I look at those and I take the approach of real investment, not just speculating. All right. Not just, this is going to be a hot spec. No, like what books are going to be solid for long-term holds? Chris, what's going on, Chris? Oh man, Chris sold 95% of his collection. Woo. Well, Chris, I don't see, not to knock you, Chris, but that last point you're saying, I empathize, and it's kind of some of my Man, I'm having a brain fart. What's the opposite? It's some of my pessimism right now, Chris, is kind of similar to that. But I'm always one to be an optimist and say, let's not generalize, right? Let's not stereotype and generalize. It's like for anybody that's into hip hop music or rap music, and they're like, yeah, this is real hip hop. What does real hip hop mean? What, you need to have big words and metaphors and have the same little sample that everyone sampled since 1992? Oh, that's real hip hop. Like, hip hop is a culture, is a movement, is a feeling, is a vibe that is extremely diverse, and you can't put it in a box. Same with comic books and comic book collecting. We can't just sit here and say, oh, well, they don't do it like they used to, so it's not organic, or they don't do it like me, so it's not organic. So I'm trying to say, let's try not to stereotype and generalize, but I am going to bring some concerns, Chris, that I think go and pair to exactly what you're saying, though. Okay. So I feel you. Corgi, what's going on? Glenn, I see a lot of people saying that they're downsizing their collection. But let's just finish up talking about my channel. Like, I've always been an optimist, saying, because I get the naysayers that say flippers are ruining the hobby, speculation's ruining the hobby, variants are ruining the hobby. This is ruining, and I always say this, guys. No, nothing is ruining the hobby. Do you care about variants? No, I don't even buy them. Well, why do you stop spending so much of your energy worrying about other people that collect variants? Do you flip comic books? No. Well, don't worry about other people that flip comic books. Buy what you like. If you're just in it to read, buy what you want to read and enjoy the good story, right? You got to focus on what makes you happy. We're going to keep circling back to that all throughout the night. But I understand certain levels of burnout because I feel that way right now. I am feeling a sense of burnout. And I look at myself in the mirror and I say, Chris, you're being a hypocrite, because for so long you've been the one telling everyone else, don't worry about how other people collect. Let them do them and you do you. Well, is me experiencing burnout have to do with how other people collect? Well, I don't know. Does it? Like, I'm thinking about it, and then I look at it, and it's because of the fact that I'm on the front line. I do this for a living. I'm a journalist. So I'm going to take one example, and that's top 10 lists. Tough book. Ferrul, what's going on? Top 10 list, guys. Top 10 list. Every week, I do top 10 props or flops. We use Cover Prices weekly top 10 list, which is based on real data. It's not just a YouTuber or somebody like taking their own books and saying, well, these are books I want to talk about, and just call the top 10 list. It's not like record high sales, you know. I know that Tom has, for a long time, has had a specific hot list where they focus on books that actually are breaking their old sales in specific grades. So that's very specific. What Cover Price does is they take actual data with units sold, and they monitor increasing trends in sales to units sold, right? So we take this list, and I pick 3 books that I think are interesting out that list, and I talk about them, and I run the numbers myself. I just said how I break that down a little earlier. And I'm telling you, folks, I'm doing these lists every week, and I'm going to be straight honest. Maybe you'll never want to come back and watch my top 10 lists, which we're kind of going through a revamp right now. I am so tired of doing them. I'm so tired of doing them. Appreciate that, Kilted. Props or Flops is a good show, in my honest opinion. Old man Hal, mumble rap. Mumble rap is a generalization that doesn't exist. Just a sidetrack here. Just like gangster rap. Gangster rap was created by the feds and politicians. Gangster rap didn't exist until the feds and the politicians started calling anything, any black man that rapped about real stuff, they called him gangster rap. Mumble rap doesn't exist. Yeah, are there rappers that I don't even know what the hell they're saying? They're too high off the lean. They're brain fried off the Molly and the lean, and I don't even know what the hell they're saying. Yeah. That's out there, and it's garbage. There's a lot of good stuff out there today too that people don't get credit for. But mumble rap doesn't exist. Now, back to comic books. I am tired of doing these top 10 shows. And 2 weeks ago, I switched it up. I looked at the top 10 list and I said, I'm not picking 3 books this week. Damn it, I'm not picking. And I went on the video and said, you guys want to know how I feel about top 10 lists? And I just let you know how I feel. It's the same thing every single week. MCU, whether it be rumor or actual announcements for a project or a casting. DCEU, whenever that happens. Anything that's optioned. Netflix is optioning this dollar bin book that, oh, that's a comic book? Oh, what publisher did that? Oh, when? Oh, but it's coming on Netflix. I got to go pay $80 for it. It's those things. Or it's an incentive variant, which is fine. Or once in a while, once in a blue moon, it might be some random outlier. I don't know, that actually pertains to comics. Usually still has to do with like a first appearance of a character. And it's like, how do I keep talking about this same thing every week? And then you get into the props or flops aspect, right? And I got to ask myself, what am I doing with props? What does that mean? Am I giving it props because I think right now it's a good buy? Because, and I said this last week on Comic Book Canon, guys, if it was up to me, if we were looking at the books right now and I was talking about them in terms of an investment standpoint for the short term right now, like you don't have these books, they're on the top 10 list. Should I give them props or flops? I'd give every single book flops every time, especially in 9.8s. And that's going to be another Friday Night Live show that I'm going to do real soon. Why I will never buy a graded 9.8 book. Be on the lookout for that one, boys and girls. Boys, girls, and everyone else. I would give every single book flops. Why? Because it's not a shopping list. It's not a shopping list. The trend of, and I've been doing this. We've been doing this for over 2 years. And I monitor the list, and more they've gotten worse in terms of speculation off of simply live action hype, option stuff, or MCU or DCEU. And I'm not sitting here knocking anybody that wants to spec on this stuff. But once they hit the top 10 list, people are already in their FOMO. It's not a shopping list. I wouldn't encourage you to buy any of those books unless you study the list and you know what to look for in your back issue bins and your LCSs, and hopefully you get one that's way undermarked. Then, okay, cool. Kudos to you. Props. So anyways, we will be revamping. I appreciate you guys saying that you enjoy that segment. We're going to revamp it, though, to keep it a little more fresh. But that's one thing where I'm a little burnt out of the monotony of it. Tough Book, yeah. Tough Book just said there's too many top 10s and they're all the same. Look, I'm not going to knock anybody that loves comic books to get behind the screen and go start a YouTube channel. quite honestly, I encourage it. If you love comic books so much and you want to talk about it and you like being in front of a camera, start a YouTube channel. You don't even need to have thousands of subscribers. Build a community, have a couple hundred followers, and just make friends, right? But everyone that has a YouTube channel has a top 10 list, including me. But at least I try to do something different. And when I do my top 10 comics to invest in, which is different than like the weekly top 10, I try to talk about books that nobody else is talking about. I mean, it's crazy how I'll do like a top 10 Bronze Age books to invest in. And they're like, yo, what about Hulk 181? Why isn't that on the list? And I'm like, yo, because everyone's buying that book that has the money to buy that book because it's already a blue chip key investment. Everyone's talking about it. Why do I want to talk about it? So I'm like, am I getting less views because I'm not talking about the same things that everyone else is talking about? It makes no sense. Does everybody sit on YouTube and jump from one YouTuber's video to another wanting to hear like, oh man, that YouTube video from so-and-so, man, talking about Werewolf by Night 32 and Hulk 181 and UF4, man, oh, Journal's got a new hot books to invest in list for this week. Let me go check him out because, man, I want to see if he's talking about Hulk 181, Werewolf by Night 32, and Ultimate Fallout 4. And no, I'm talking about like, you know, the first appearance of Polaris, which I think could be an undervalued Silver Age key book. Or, you know, the first appearance of Nimrod, which is, you know, a book that you can still find probably for under $15, who can play a big role in the X-Men movies moving forward. The second appearance of Rogue, that's heavily overlooked. And Rogue is such a huge character. Nah, man, nope, right? I don't know. So it's just, it's tough when you're on the front line. That's why, you know, it's really interesting because they say, go to school, get educated, and go find a job that doesn't just pay well, but is a passion for you. How many agree with that? How many here might get paid well, but it's not a passion, and you're like, man, shoot, if I can actually, I would like take a smaller paycheck if I could do something that I love. But maybe there's some people, take that dummy, what's going on? But maybe there's other people that are like, man, like, I'll do my hobby as a hobby, man, just give me a paycheck, right? Well, have we ever thought of, I know, Second Street, you need higher education to actually learn anything anymore. Montessori schools are good, though. Glad I have my kids in Montessori schools. I don't think it is often discussed how actually working in a field that you love and enjoy might actually hinder your love for that thing. Let me give you an example. I'm not going to say comic books. Music. Dan's in the house. Fat Dad's in the house. Music. I am a musician. I quit my day job. I was a manager at Pete's Coffee and Tea. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pete's Coffee. It's on the West Coast. I was a manager at Pete's Coffee, working in Berkeley and Hartman's Cars. What's going on? And I started building a relationship with a local, they were an independent music company, but they were a fairly large independent music company that housed very well-known hip-hop artists and reggae artists. And I ended up quitting my day job at Pete's to go sign under that label and do my music full time. I did this for 2 years, just over 2 years. I got to rock stages and perform with hip hop legends like KRS-One and Wu-Tang. And I got to make music with a lot of folks that I grew up, idolizing and listening to. But it came to a point where I sat down with my manager. And if you guys know me, I made hip hop music as a rapper and producer. And coming from where I'm from, my music was always grimy. It was always grimy and real. Think like Tupac, Nas, Outkast. But I didn't glorify anything that wasn't me. I kept it real, but it was grimy, but it was also real. In like I dealt with real social issues and real life issues, and I had heart and soul in it. I call my music soul music, right? And I had this individual sit down with me and say to my face, you got to figure out if you're a conscious rapper or you're a thug, like thugged out. And I said, don't put a box around me. I'm me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And that's what I was saying earlier about this idea of what's real hip hop and doesn't exist. Real hip hop's what's true to you, just like real comic collecting is what's true to you. So I'm saying this because I came to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't enjoy what I love doing as a musician because I'm not going to be forced to be something that I'm not. Trev, what's going on, Trev? So when you're doing it as a job, something that you love as a job, there's always that pressure, right? You gotta make a paycheck. You gotta sell records. You gotta sell out shows. You gotta sell tickets. You gotta appeal to what they want, the consumer, the fan. You gotta pay your bills. You gotta feed your kids. A lot different than just sitting in your room, smoking on one and like doing whatever the hell you want and not caring about what any record company or anybody has in mind when it comes to the type of music they want to buy or listen to or market, right? So, well, let's go back to comic books, Journo's Comics. And I'm not saying it's apples to apples, but hey, look, it's a passion and something that I love. And I have to sit here day in and day out and figure out how is this going to earn me revenue? And it changes the dynamic. It changes the dynamic. Hey, man, Green Day. I like a lot of Green Day's older stuff, though. I like their early stuff, too. But it's just different, right? Yeah. By the way, my older brother, who's like 20 years older than me, went to school with Billy Joe. What's his name? The lead singer. Right in the high school right next to Richmond, California. Yeah, just a little dropping that there. So I gotta work this as a business, right? And that's why I do the top 10 still, even though I try to be unique with them. But I'm realizing something, folks. And it's okay with me, but it makes it harder. There's a lot more I could be doing. There's a lot more that I could be doing that would benefit me as a business. And I'm not. I have taken away a lot of my energy away from doing spec stuff. I've been talking about it less and less this last year, where I could have done more for clicks and views. I could sit here and make titles saying, buy this comic book right now. But I don't, because I don't care about clicks and views. No, okay, look at the title of this stream. Done with comics. Now you guys can say, well, Chris, like, that was like clickbaitish. Well, look, you got to understand, what do I want? I want to pull you guys in. I want you watching my show. So I'm going to get your attention, but I'm going to do it in a way that's not a lie. I wasn't lying. We're talking about feelings of being done with comics, whether it's my own or other people in the community. You see what I'm saying? But there's a line I don't cross. I don't sit here and say, buy this comic now. Travis Tubbs, what's going on? I will never do that. I will never do that because it's not me. I don't care. I know for a fact that I could do that and get more subscribers and more views, which would then equate to more money. I can't do it. There's also other issues that I'm very vocal about that I could shut up about. But the irony, my favorite Superman is Spider-Man, and yep, it's cliche and it's cheesy. With great power comes great responsibility. I'm sorry, guys. I have a responsibility with the power that I have on this platform. And just like I spoke up the other day for somebody in my comments using the R word, calling other collectors I'm not even going to say the word, because he disagreed with how they collected. I could have just blocked him, deleted the comments, and moved on. But nope. Call me a Boy Scout. Call me a community police, because I made a public statement saying I will not tolerate the use of this word, and this is why. I have a special needs son. I teach special needs children. And I even said to folks, if you aren't aware of the detriments of this word and the seriousness, now is the time for you to learn. I gave people the benefit of the doubt. And why do I do that? Because I want people to be better human beings, including myself. I'm still learning. I'm still working at it. I'm not perfect. But it is my duty. It is my duty. Even though this is about comic books, it's my duty to have a moral obligation to use my power in my platform. And I'm not going to do it in such a way where I'm overcompensating or doing so much. But I'll tell you, when I feel the need, I set a line. And when I feel the need, I say it. Thank you, David. Yeah, people are toxic in all walks of life. That's for sure. So another part of burnout for me is, and I know they say, don't feed the trolls. And I'm such an empath, guys. I really am. And it's not that I let people get to me, but I strive so much for everyone to be a decent human being. And if I feel like I can't get through to people, I guess sometimes I feel like I'm failing. But so is the internet. So be social media, right? Social media, it breeds the most toxic people. It brings the nastiest out of people when it should be doing the opposite. And some people just love it so much. It's like an addiction to them. It's a high to them, and it feeds their narcissism, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it scares me and it worries me. But dealing with that and seeing that every day, that's tough to do as well. It's tough to do, I will say. Not going to lie. And it goes both ways. And I'm gonna speak on this for maybe 2 minutes, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing, because I'm not trying to get like political, and I want everyone here to know that I'm looking for both sides here when I say this example about toxicity. I posted in a comic book group on Facebook about the first episode of Miss Marvel. The last couple of episodes, I'm like, okay, well, let's get to the point. The first episode, though, I loved. I was like, this is the best first episode of all the Marvel Disney Plus series. I posted that, and a lot of people were like, I don't know. It's not for me. It seems like a Disney Plus show. And that's totally fine. They weren't knocking. They weren't being nasty. They weren't being prejudiced. They weren't being racist or hating on this girl because she's a different color skin or because she's a Muslim or anything like that. It was simply like, oh man, this is kind of cringeworthy. That's not for me. It is what it is. And that's fine. And then what do some people do? They're like, racist. You're a racist, right? Like, look, I can't stand prejudice people as much as you, but you're acting just like those that you say you hate right now because you're judging them and you're attacking them and calling them names when they have not done anything to justify that reaction. And he's acting just like the people that are out there, and there were these people out there too. I've seen these people online that are specifically hating on Miss Marvel, calling it woke propaganda. Nobody wants a Muslim show about a Muslim character, freaking, and all this stuff. And it's very hateful, and it's that same thing. It's pitchfork mentality. And I'm tired of all of it. I'm tired of all of it. Nobody cannot be toxic these days, right? So that it wears on you when you do this as a job. When I, as a journalist, am looking at this stuff every day, it's tough, man. It is very tough. Oh man, Max, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, been listening while bagging and board and love your transparency and authenticity. God, I can't talk. Transparency and authenticity, brother. You are an important voice in this community. Thank you, Max. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Maxfield, go check out his channel. He does all sorts of stuff. Really, really humble guy. And this is what it's about. And Max, I know we still needed to talk and discuss. We got some things to talk about for sure, especially when you talk about getting rid of this toxicity, right? And just trying to be better people. We got to have that conversation. So, yeah, Ethan, I hear you. And look, and those are tag words, right? I want to get away from the tag words. It's just all these generalizations need to stop. But I wanted to throw that out there, and I wanted to move on because I don't want to linger on that and make this a big issue. But so there's all these things that just, as doing this as a job, makes it harder for me to love. And I want to say one more point, and then we're going to move on to done with comics from the community's perspective. But the last thing I'll say is this. It makes it hard to have time to enjoy my own comics and read my own comics. But guess what? Any job that you're working is going to be like that, right? Don't matter what you're doing. So I just had to throw that out there. Let's go into the community's stance on why a lot of people say they're done with comics. All right. And it comes back to comic burnout. And guys, I'm gonna come full circle and give you guys some optimism here before the end of the show, okay? I promise. I feel like a lot of people are feeling burnout too. Take that, dummy. I will say, right. I think sometimes, and I'll keep this short, but I think sometimes some of these creators are justified in like wanting to have a voice, but they do it in a very counterproductive way. They, being even if somebody says something nasty to them or they're trying to argue a valid point, being nasty back will never solve anything. It'll never solve anything. You could be Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, black, white, Muslim, Christian. It doesn't matter. You could get on the Twitter or the Facebook and turn into a raging narcissist. And too many people are doing that these days. And that's where we need to take heed and just take a step back, turn off the social media, go outside and say hello to your neighbor. But anyways, the comic burnout for collectors. I have been the biggest optimist. The biggest optimist. Insane. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Focus on you. There's no right or wrong way to collect comics. But let me empathize with you guys. Let me empathize with you all right now. Now, I may say, well, guys, you're not working in the hobby, so what's your excuse? I'm working in it, so, my burnout is justified. Well, hey, look, maybe there's some truth there. But I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to humble myself, and I'm going to put myself in your shoes. I get it. Let me give you guys an example. Whatnot sales. Now, while funny, some of you collectors saying Whatnot's ruining the hobby, I'm going to have a video real soon about how actually Whatnot might be helping those diehard, I just collect comics to read type of collectors out. Yep. Whatnot could actually be helping you guys out right now as we speak, and you may not even know it, but that's another show. But let me tell you something to where I might be able to empathize. Slimy sellers. And guys, I did a whole live stream on this. Salesmen are going to be salesmen, and that's perfectly fine. But as with everything, I do believe, trolls in the house, the good troll. Not the bad trolls. What was I saying? I got distracted. Oh my goodness. Okay. There's, with everything, an ethical line that shouldn't be crossed. And I know that line might blur a little different for everyone, but I always say, guys, when I'm on Whatnot and I'm selling comic books, like, one word that I never use and that I will never use? Steal. Steal. I will never use the word steal selling a comic book. Let me show you guys something. Oh, man. All right. Next up for sale, we have the Uncanny X-Men #1. This is from the 2012 run. The Marvel Now. Look at that. Look at this amazing cover. Like, wow. I mean, this cover is just this cover right here. Look at that. Cyclops. This is a #1. It's a #1. I mean, that's a key book. That's a key, like, #1 key book. I mean, like, dude, if I wasn't selling this right now, I'd buy it myself. Like, okay, let's go. Let's go. All right. Bid it up, guys. Bid it up. All right. Oh, man. Okay. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds. Oh, man. Come on, guys. Don't let it go for $2. Don't let it go for $2. Oh, man. XX2457. What a steal. You got that book for $2. What a steal. Congrats. Wow. So let's rehash. Guys, this book is not a key just because it's a #1. Okay, if you like the cover, then that's on you. But if I sold this for $2, I would be extremely happy. If I sold that book for $2, I would have made out. No, it is not a steal. Every single book that you sell, no matter how big or how low, is not a steal. And I'm going to use a key book as an example. Somebody just sold an Amazing Fantasy 15 on Whatnot. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? Did you catch that? Junkie. Junkie. 9.8 for Simple Simon. Man, you better be paying hundreds of dollars for that book, because that is a massive key. Killheart. Eric, what's going on, Eric? AC. Simple Simon. So everyone's on the Simple Simon right now. Okay. So this Amazing Fantasy 15 sells. It's a 2.5 CGC. Nice looking 2.5. They started it out really low. I think they started it out at like $1,000. I forget. And ended up selling for $32,000. And they were like, it was count. They did it like it was like a 5-minute count auction. It was a long one. They let it count down for a while, right? And it got up to like 20,000 really fast, but then it started slowing down, and it hit 30,000, and they're like, come on, guys, let's get it to 35,000. Huh? Why don't you just let them bid? Why don't you let them bid? Are you throwing something in? Like, I'll do that. I'll be like, okay, get this book up to $5, and I'll throw in a Defenders number 50. Right? That I'll bundle it up. Get up to 5 and we'll bundle it up. Something like that. That's cool. That's cool. You got a high bid and you're telling them to let's get it to 35. Why? Why didn't you start your bid at 35,000 if that's what you're expecting to get? I mean, they were cool about it though. Don't get me wrong, but still, it's like that's the type of salesman jargon that I personally just don't like. And I'm not saying they're wrong for doing it. I just wouldn't do it. But it gets to 32,000, and they win it at 32,000. And they're really cool. They were like, oh, man, congrats. Like, right on. What a deal. What a deal. I don't know if they said the word steal. I got an amazing deal. And I looked up the numbers. No, you didn't. No, they didn't get a good deal on that book. We're going to pull up the numbers right now, folks. We're going to pull up the numbers right now. Amazing Fantasy 15, right? And I have most of this in my head, but I just want to make sure I'm accurate. So basically, the last sale for an Amazing Fantasy 15 was about 35,000. Okay. I think it was 35.5 and a 2.5. Let me make sure I'm being put in the proper context there. Let me see what it was. Okay, it was $34,000. $34,080. All right. That was in May. So that was over a month before this book sold on Whatnot. The other copy in a 2.5 that sold before that sold for $55,000 in February. Okay? But get this, guys. Get this. The book's fair market value, even during the COVID peak, was still roughly below $30,000. That $55,000 sale was an outlier. So much so that a 3.0 has never sold for $50,000. Never. And the recent highs for 3.0s hovered around 37,000. You had a 44,000. And then a 3.5 never sold for 50,000. Most recent sales, 3 of them for 40,000 and change. 40,000 and change. You see what I'm saying here, guys? That $55,000 sale was an outlier, and somebody paid way too much. And all it takes is for two people in a heritage auction or wherever they were with big old money in their pockets. And quite honestly, because these books are so rare, right? You only see one or two pop up, even in low grade, a month at a time. These people weren't concerned with paying a fair market value. They were concerned with their FOMO. They wanted it right there, right now. And I bet it was two people dueling it out. I don't care if we put this to the moon. I want it and you're not having it. And it sold for $55,000, which was an outlier. That's why we do not look at outliers for fair market value. That's why we have to look at rolling averages, at least over the last 3 months or more, especially for a book that's scarce on the market. So if you take away the outlier of 55,000, this book sold well above the average fair market value of the last year. Keith, fair market value is basically doesn't exist. A fair market value is something that is very subjective, and in a case you can define it as it's something that's willing to pay for it. But fair market value should be determined by precedent and rough rolling averages, because then it allows you to realize what would be fair for you for a future sale or a current sale. The bottom line that I'm trying to point out here, guys, is that nobody got a huge deal. Look, one might go up, and the next one that goes up might sell for $40,000, and then that person that bought it off of whatnot, hey, it may feel like a deal to them, but they paid above the current fair market value for that book. So, look, I understand how collectors might get turned off by the modern market because everyone is in it to sell, and they're going to sell you on whatever way they could sell you. What a steal. Bid this up. Like, hard to, like, newsstand. But it's a 1976 book, and there wasn't even a direct market at the time. Newsstand. Right? I understand what you're saying, but would you, as a seller, turn down $10? No, I wouldn't turn down $10 for this. I would not. If I put this up for auction at a $1 starting bid, and somebody bought it for $10, then am I going to turn that down? No. You know what I would do? You know what I might do? Because I've done this a lot. If you guys watch my whatnot sales, I do this all the time. I have random books. I have random books and art prints that I throw in to winning bids. So if somebody paid $10 for this, I'm going to say, oh, thank you so-and-so. You know what? I'm going to throw this Defenders book in there for you. Right on. Thank you so much. All right. Next book. Here's the thing, though, Keith. While I will not turn down $10 for that book, I sure as hell aren't going to use car salesman you hoping to get $10 for that book. There's a difference. Does that make sense? Let me repeat that. If I start this book at a $1 bid and somebody bids it up to $10, thank you. But I will not used car sales you in order to get that $10. And that is a fact, and I'll never change. And you can hate me, people can hate me, people can not like my channel, but that's how I am, and I will never change. Thank you, Keith. Mark. I know, right? No. I wouldn't throw this in as a freebie. I'd throw in this Brave and the Bold as a freebie. How about that? So look, people may be burnt out by the constant salesmanship. There's the IG live sales, the Facebook live sales. It's a lot. It's everywhere you go. I get it. And then there's the online forums. So many posts. It's not even about, hey, did you read that new Black Panther story? Yo, guys, did you read that new story about Vibranium Man? How this alternative reality T'Challa comes and like, man, and then how it ended. I thought it was great. No, it was like, oh my God, a new Black Panther T'Challa variant. I better FOMO out on that because they might put him in a movie. Who knows? Oh my God, FOMO! Not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm empathizing. You go into these forums and it's like, guys, hold on. What else do I got? Hold on. I'm going to find something good. Here we go. Guys, Spider-Man 2099 Exodus. Like, there's this new character from 2099. You think there's spec? There? Should I buy it? Should I invest in it? Should I spec on it? And there's so much of that. And again, while I'm not saying this is bad or wrong, because who am I, guys? Who have I been? I've been the person that I don't want to say shuns, but I try to humble people that try to point fingers at others. Speculators aren't even real collectors. Stop. Don't put somebody in a box. Flippers are evil scum. Just stop. People could flip, make money off of comics. It's fine. But it's everywhere we turn, and it's so heightened, right? And it's so much of that. Oh, yeah, I just read an AC's comment about, yeah, the last price sold. I never use the last price sold. Like, if you had 5 books sell for around $5 to $7 of a book, right? And then one sells for $20, I'm not going to, first off, as a buyer, I'm not going to think it's okay to buy that book for $20 again. And as a seller, I'm not just going to necessarily sell my book for $20. I might go higher than $5 or $7. Never use the last sold as an indicator of what the market's doing or going to do. But back to my point. You know, you got collectors that simply want to read comics or collect comics for the art or the nostalgia, and you join these groups and forums, and 95% of the time is this speculation? Should I flip this? Or, guys, look at what I picked up today. I picked up, okay, so maybe I bought this book because I'm a big T'Challa fan, and I just wanted to show it off. And I'm like, guys, man, I got this comic today. Really cool story about a variant T'Challa, Vibranium Man. Oh, flip that. Time to flip. I'm like that. Like you want me to like flip it? Like, huh? No, I don't flip. I want to collect my comics. I want to read them. I want to collect them. I want to give them to my kids. Why do I need to flip it? You see what I'm saying? So it's like not everybody has that same mentality. So people might get burdened or burnt out by this. And I get it. Oh, man, Raising L, thank you so much for the super chat. Happy 4th of July, everyone. And remember, happy Canadian Day. Happy Canada Day. Whoop, whoop, to my neighbors up north. And guys, please be safe. 2 things. I'll tell you right now, we're taking a commercial break here. Public announcement break. If you live in an area where fireworks are legal, be very safe. If you're playing with illegal fireworks, please be even safer. And I hope you're not drinking. And if you are drinking, I swear to God, if you are drinking, you ain't cool if you get behind the steering wheel. And here I go again, using my platform. I'm sure most of us are grown adults, and it's like we got to keep telling each other, and I'm tired. I'm tired of coming off of these holiday weekends, seeing these cars crinkled up. saying family of 4 died because some drunk driver couldn't take a freaking Uber home. I'm done. I'm done seeing it. To me, it's murder. To me, it's premeditated murder. Because you know that you're going to be taking drinks and you make the conscious decision to get behind that steering wheel. Just don't do it. And if you're out in Cali, hit me up. Hit me up. I ain't had a drink in 9 years. I'll pick you up. You might need to throw some fader on the gas. Hit me up. All right, cool. All right. Back to comic books. Top 10 lists. Oh, God, top 10. It's the same. I get it. It's monotonous. It's heavy. In the words of the great Marty McFly, it's heavy. I get it. But do we want to really be done with comics? Are these things really getting in the way of what we want to enjoy? And guys, even though I spent the last, 30 minutes empathizing, I'm still going to come to the same conclusion. This hobby has so much rich history and depth to it. It has so much different fundamental aspects, from art to storytelling to collecting and the collectability to the investment side to the making money side. All of these things, they all matter. And some matter differently to others. And look, I get it. But if you're not those things that are kind of really taking over the market right now, you got to do your best to just not pay attention. Papa Ken, what's going on? You got to, or it's going to eat you up, and it shouldn't. So here's my suggestion. I'm saying this to myself too. If you want to enjoy comics a certain way, maybe unplug from the Facebook groups. Like I'm in the CBSI Facebook group, and I see people like, dude, like, do people even read comics anymore? My guy, you're in a comic book investment Facebook group. Like, it literally says comic book investment and speculation in the title. Leave the group. Go find a group, or maybe even create a group that fits your way of enjoying the hobby. Because I guarantee you're going to find like-minded people. If all you care about is variants, join a variant group. If all you care about speculation, go join the CBSI group. And if you're a little of both or a little bit of all, but sometimes you need more balance this way or that way, unplug from one or the other for certain periods of time. Say, okay, this month I want to really dive into getting on top of some spec stuff or some investment stuff. Maybe the next month, all I want to do is get caught up on my reading. I don't want to deal with speculation. I don't want to deal with top 10 lists. I just want to deal with reading. And so then, you only focus on those groups, and maybe you turn off, obviously Comic Tom has the biggest top 10s, but, you turn off my top 10s. You turn off, what are some of the other Tales from the Flip Side? You turn off their top 10. Maybe you just turn off the top 10s for a minute, and then you watch Robbie with Pop Culture Philosophers. Maybe you watch AR Comics for a month, and you hear about all these good stories that are coming out, and man, you just got done watching Robbie's latest video, and it's Wednesday, and now you're happy about going to the LCS because you're not worried about what happened on Comic Tom or Journos or Tales from the Flip Side's top 10 list last week. You don't care, because all you care about is that new Boom Studios book or that new DC Black Label book that you heard Robbie talking about. And then you go and you get those books and you read them and you're happy enjoying the hobby. But then guess what? Next month, you're sitting like thinking, man, I know the MCU has some awesome movies come out. I'm going to get ahead of the curve. And then you know what you do? You turn on Journo's top MCU spec books to invest in before 2023. You know, you turn on key collectors like future spec list or something like that. You know, you look at Bry's comics like, you know, top, whatever he's doing, right? So Como Comics, you know, whatever. And then maybe that helps you figure out, oh, this month I want to just buy some back issues that can help me out on maybe some future investments. And you balance it out. And I see people name dropping a lot of good folks up in here. Comic tropes. Yep. So, at what point does collecting comics turn hoarding? That kind of is a question that's going to pair to my final statement of the show. I think it has to do with the individual, really, though, in space, and really looking at, like, do you need these, right? Are you blowing your budget? Jeremy says, if I make a trip out to Cali, can I kick it with you? Well, guys, I'm not going to give anyone my address or anything. I don't want you knocking on my door, but hey, look, if you catch me at a con, you know, holla. If you catch me at a con, say what's up. It's all good, man. For real, you know, it's all about the community, that's for sure. If you catch me at A1 Comics or Comic Command Center or whatever it may be, you know, if you see me eating dinner with my family, like, don't just pull up a chair and start eating off my plate, you know, but I'm just being funny, right? All right, so again, I'm summing all this up with some optimism, guys. I also want to talk about being overwhelmed with inventory. This is what I talked about in the beginning of the show, in selling out my personal collection. And this kind of goes to the question that was just asked about, when does comic book collecting become hoarding? So I've really sat here and I've had moments, guys, over the last maybe couple of months and said, I just don't want to do this anymore. You know? Gold Gauntlet, what's going on? I've sat and I've looked in here. I just feeling so overwhelmed. Again, looking at my space, it's like I'm running out of space. What am I doing? I don't have time to organize. I don't even have time to keep up on my reading. Like, I'm struggling. I'm working 7 days a week as a job trying to get this rolling, you know, with the channel and comic sales. And what am I doing? I can't do it anymore. I just want to stop. Because what no collector ever wants is to not enjoy the thing that they love. But the answer to finding how to continue to enjoy the thing that you love isn't in what other people are doing or what other people aren't doing. Okay? It isn't in speculators or flippers or any of that, or even like slimy sellers or used car salesmen. Like, it's none of that. It's in here. It's in here, and it's how you allow yourself to evolve, just like we do as human beings. Guys, it's like, I couldn't sit here and be the same person that I was when I was 20. I couldn't sit here and be the same person that I was when I was 15. If I was, I'd be dead, or I'd be in a casket, or I'd be behind bars. I can't sit here and be the same person I was when I was 20, because I'd still probably be like a struggling musician. Even though I had my little moment. Still struggle. Just because I was going on tour and performing with Wu-Tang and KRS and Hieroglyphics, and you ain't making money just because, you know, you ain't making money. So anyways, it's about how you evolve yourself and allow yourself to evolve within the hobby that you love. And I'm realizing right now that, yes, to what some of these people said in the beginning of the show, I may sit here in these moments and say, I'm done with comics. Like, I can't do this. But I got to step back and ask myself, how do I continue to enjoy this? Because at the end of the day, if I actually sat in complete silence and thought about it, there is no way I can live my life without comic books. There is no way. Physically and, spiritually. I can't. The hobby, the genre, the community, there is no way I could cut it off. None. Corral. So I'm changing. I'm changing how I collect comics, folks. I've done it a million times. I'm doing it again. And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I am still way behind on my own inventory to sell. Slowly but surely, I'm going to be pulling some of my own PC and I'm going to be selling it off. Yep. It's just a fact of the matter. Now, I'm probably, everyone, I'm going to get judged no matter what I do. Journo makes a spec video, so he's a sellout. Oh, Journo sells comics now, so he's not a real collector. Now I'm selling on my personal collection. So see, it was all a facade. It's a front. No, I'm just evolving. I realized that I need to collect quality over quantity and focus on things that I really care about. And right now, what do I care about? Well, I care about completing my Grail runs. I just picked up a Grail run book. I'm not going to show it off because I did a video. You guys know what my main Grail run is, so you'll know what run it's from. But I'll show this one off, a nice higher grade Amazing Spider-Man 36. Really very fine plus looking early Silver Age Spider-Man book. I want to focus on completing my Grail run. Like, I don't want to spend $100 a month on 50-cent bin books that I'm just going to hoard. I want to save $100 a month to put to Silver Age Amazing Spider-Man. Right? When it comes to my new issues, I realize that while I am a completionist, I like to collect runs. A lot of these books end up in bargain bins anyway. And if I miss out on a spec book, oh, well, I missed out on it. I need to stop buying all these runs and just read them digitally. Because, guys, I'm going to tell you, I do read comics, but I work literally 3 jobs. And I still have books in my to-read box that I've had in there for literally like 4 years. Of course, new ones go in and I read those first. They take priority. But I can't even keep up with it all. And I'm paying an annual membership to Marvel Unlimited and a DC Universe Infinite. So, look, man, I don't need to be a hoarder of the run. If I really want to read the story, I'll read the digital. Or, you know what I'll do? I'll wait for the trade to come out and I'll go to my local library and I'll check out the trades for free. Yeah, Reva, I hear you. We got to stop using buzzwords because it waters down a real argument, right? Marvel and DC do have a ways to go with telling stories, and it has nothing to do with agendas necessarily. It has to do with an agenda of selling comics, but it's just bad writing a lot. And it's plain and simple. And I'm not even going to get into that argument right now. It's not because the character is bisexual. It doesn't matter if a character is bisexual or straight. Tell a good story. It doesn't matter if a character is black or white. Tell a good story. It doesn't matter if a character is Muslim, Christian, whatever. Tell a good story. And yeah, Marvel and DC has struggled. You know what? One of the reasons why more than like agendas. You know what? One reason why they can't tell a good story is because they're so focused on pumping out these $3.99 and $4.99 books and wanting you to come back for more. So you get through the 21 pages of this book, and there's like 2 word bubbles on each page, and you get to the end of it, and it's like, next month. Dude, nothing even happened in this issue. Like, Peter Parker, like, put his costume on, walked down a hallway, and flipped the web or two, and now it's like, in the next issue, what the hell just happened? What did I read? Nothing. When comic books we used to always have story arcs, but one comic book would be like at least a full chapter or 2 in a novel. That's one of the biggest issues. They're trying to milk our dollar per issue as far as they can go. That's the biggest issue that nobody wants to talk about, because people would rather sensationalize divisive buzzwords. Library is absolutely a great option. Dawn is here. Dawn, I don't know if you were here earlier, Dawn, but I blamed you. I blamed you for the show because it's all your fault, Dawn. Dawn's in the house. No, that's not Dawn. We love you, Matthew. Where'd Dawn go? Dawn is in the house because, remember, guys, if you guys were here in the beginning, I said it's all Dawn's fault because I remember I was like at 13, 14,000 books, and Dawn hits 20,000 comics. And from there, I'm like, man, nope, Dawn, I'm catching up to him. But now he's 33, 34,000. I'm never catching up to Dawn. But Dawn, I hit 20K, and I'm happy that I did, and it's all your fault. But thank you, Dawn, as always, for the inspiration. I always got to give shout out to Dawn. I know, Dawn. Well, I am saying, I'm kind of shifting gears, quality over quantity. I will be selling some of my collection that is just stuff that I don't really care about. So I was talking about, like, what do I care about? I'm going to cut down on new books. I'm not going to dollar bin dive and 50-cent bin dive. I'm going to focusing on my Grail runs, right? I love my Silver Age and Bronze Age and Copper Age Marvel. I love my Silver and Bronze and some Copper Age DC. But I'll probably sell a lot of my modern stuff. I'm not going to collect independent anymore unless it's stuff that I'm actually reading. Because there's a lot of good independent reads out there. And I might even start shifting over to trade paperbacks, whether from the library or just buying the trades, instead of buying the individual floppy books, just because it's easier that way. And it works for just to read the stories, And I actually like reading a storyline, especially if it's like, it's a limited series. It's only like 4, 5, or 6 issues. And they're going to produce a trade paperback graphic novel. And I can wait for it, pay $16.99 or something, and read it all at once. I would like that better than waiting, because to be honest, my short-term memory isn't the best at this point in time of my life. So I'll read a book, wait a month for the next issue, and be like, what did I read a month ago? I don't even remember. Right? Emmanuel, did you say that you were putting up some of your ASM books, including Hobgoblin books? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So circling back to my next Whatnot sale, which is active on my Whatnot, Journals Comics, go find it there. I will be putting up some Hobgoblin books. I got a couple of Hobgoblin minor keys. I might have a Hobgoblin second appearance for sale. But remember, 99% of everything that goes up for the July 22nd sale is going to be available for buy it now beforehand. I will start adding the books in this weekend. All right. So that's where I'm focusing on, and that's going to drive me to be happy as a collector, folks. And look, if my collection, if I sell some of my PC and my collection dips below 20K, it might happen. I don't think it will. Like, I don't think it'll ever go below 20K now. I'll say that much. Because as I sell some off that I don't care, I'm still getting the quality over quantity, but I'm still adding more books, right? And I think that's a good, feasible number to work with as my personal collection. Okay. So I talked about being overwhelmed by the inventory and what I'm doing to combat that. We talked about selling off personal inventory, even though it's not going to be a lot of my stuff, and focusing on quality over quantity. Those are my goals. Those are my goals. So for you guys, you got to focus on your goals. And remember, it's what makes you happy. I understand that all the spec stuff, all the top 10s, all of this can get overwhelmed. And I want to say one more thing about it before I go into my closing statements. I went into 2022 saying this is the year of the educated collector, and I'm going to be on the forefront, doing my best to use my platform to educate collectors in every way. And as I've always been the optimist, saying people don't hate how somebody else collects. They're not ruining comics. You do you, let them do them. If they want to spec, let them spec. If you want to focus on Silver Age books that, or just Spider-Man, do you. You just want to read, whatever. But going into this year, even with the ebb and flow of the market, even though we're seeing, because of the economy, and that's another thing that's burdening a lot of people right now to make people think I'm done with comics. It's like, it's getting even harder. And that's one reality for me too in my financial situation. It's like, what can I afford? But even with the ebbing of the market right now and something's cooling down, live action and spec hype is still at an all-time high. And it's absolutely crazy. And why I've said this before and I'll say it again. I remember when I was getting back into comics in the early 2000s and the Spider-Man movies were coming out. I came out of those movies and went straight to the comic shops. I went straight to my comics were at my parents' house still. My collection were at my parents' house. And when I saw the first Spider-Man movie, I went to my parents' house and went into my old closet in my old room and started pulling my books out. That's exactly what happened. No lie. I found my ASM 252 and it was on. And then House of N came out and Civil War came out in the comics. And I'm like, I ain't never turning back. I understand how we gravitate towards the MCU and live action and stuff. I get it. But I really question the fine line of it being people actually buying these books because they hear, oh my God, Wonder Man's coming in the MCU. I'm going to go buy his first solo title that was a $2 to $3 book yesterday, and I'm going to spend $30, $40 on it now. Do you really care about Wonder Man? Do you really care? Did you ever own a Wonder Man book before? Or do you just really think that now that there's been this announcement that if you don't buy it, even for this crazy price, you're going to miss out on making money? Because that's what it's about for you. How much of this spec market is just because of a fight or flight emotional response, similar to a drug addict wanting their next fix? And I'm being dead serious. This ain't a joke, and I'm not mocking these people because, like I said, I don't want to judge anyone. Haha, 30 Hansi's done. Yeah, that's like me and my Warlock and the Infinity Watch #1. I think I'm on like 26. Obviously not as good as a book as that one, though. But it concerns me because it's socially, culturally socioculturally acceptable for us to be in a fight or flight response when it comes to this me, now, gimme mentality. And when we do that, it's scary. It is. It's concerning. So while I'm not mocking the spec market, I am concerned. I am concerned because I don't think people are truly educated to what they're doing. And I honestly think that in the moment, they are acting very much like somebody acts when their brain has the endorphins rushed into their brain, fiending for their next high, fixing for their next fix. So that's why it concerns me, guys. It really does. But the best thing that we can do, again, why do you love this hobby? Why do you love this hobby and no one else? Ask yourself that. You want to slab books? Why? What does it do for you? Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. Don't look at somebody else with all their slabs and just think, oh my God, they're the cool kids. You know, you get into high school and you know, the cool kids are smoking cigarettes and they got lip piercing. So, oh man, well, I guess that's what I need to do to be cool. Nah, man. You could be cool collecting comic books doing whatever you want to do with them. Why? What do you love about comics? Maybe it changes. Maybe it'll change. But right now, you got to ask yourself that and focus on those things. And whatever it is, always make sure, because this hobby costs a lot of money. No matter if you're collecting just to read, if you're collecting just to hoard, if you're collecting to invest long-term, or you're a speculator or a flipper. This hobby costs money. So once you know what you love, you got to be mindful of your budgeting and how you spend your money, and you have to be smart and educated to that. And at the end of the day, most of us enjoy a multitude of the different variables of this hobby, different factors of this hobby, and we need to make sure that we are understanding what it is we're doing to the T. And that's why I try to be here to lend my services to all of you guys. And at the end of the day, we make sound decisions and decisions that we can live with. And we keep it all in perspective. And that's the only thing that we can do. Because if we don't, once we allow it to get out of perspective, the hobby doesn't fail us. We fail it. If that makes sense. The hobby doesn't fail us. We fail it. Which really means we're failing ourselves, because we're not allowing ourselves to understand why we want to do what we love. So, and remember this, guys, we're all a collective. And not to get all metaphysical on you guys, but the power of thought and the power of the spoken word is very powerful. Did you guys know? You know, everything is energy, right? Everything's energy. Everything's a vibration, right? Physical matter is formed due to how it vibrates off of all the other matter around it. This is a fact. This is physics. Do you know that when you think of a thought in your head to yourself, you think it. So say you're thinking like, man, I really want to go back to school next summer or next fall. Or I really want to save up money to get a new car. Or, you know, I really want to save up money to get that Hulk 181. Or I'm wondering what I'm having for dinner tomorrow. Like any thought that you have, do you know that it sends out a vibration that can be measured, and it sends out this vibration of energy into the universe that never ends. This is not a lie. This is fact. You could go study it. Thoughts permeate energy out into the universe that never end, and they exist out there. It's a fact. It's true. And that's why we say we create our reality based on what we think. In the power of the written word, if a thought has that much power to exist out in the universe, think about what the spoken word can do. And we speak things to life. This is, oh, and we got the bots. Yes. You know you made it when you got not only the bots, but the naked HD bots. Oh, good Lord. You know what? They got mad. I was getting too deep. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make this, and this is kind of my closing statement, guys. We are a collective community, and whatever we're thinking about the hobby and about our place in it, and whatever we're communicating, whether it's talking in front of a screen or chatting in a chat room or hanging out at an LCS or a con and talking it up, any of these scenarios, we're influencing each other. We're learning from each other. We're, inspiring each other, educating each other, all around something that we all love, a similar thing that we all love. And while I'm not opposed to being cynical at times, or not cynical, but skeptic at times, or questioning things, and sometimes you just have to talk about the negative things that we see out there. But more often than not, I want to encourage you all to focus on the positive. Because I think if you do, and you share that with somebody else, and that somebody else shares that with somebody else, and we focus on the positive things, we're going to realize that it's easier than we think to be able to enjoy this hobby in the worst of times. And when there are negative things to discuss, or when we're feeling some type of burnout, or maybe it's something that we're really passionate about and we really think that we need to be vocal about it, like we think something is hurting the hobby. My encouragement to you in addressing that is, don't be emotional and reactionary. Don't pick up the pitchfork mentality. And don't just use groupthink. Don't look for somebody else to think for you. Do your critical thinking. Think about your argument before you say it, and then present it in a way that you believe is the most productive way possible, instead of in a way that could come off as being counterproductive. And that's the best advice that I can give. I have nothing but faith in comic books. I'm not concerned with the state of the overall market when it comes to like the secondary market, your vintage books, your golden, silver, bronze, and even copper age at this point. Your books are going to be fine. And in all reality, it's a bit of a buyer's market right now. So hey, maybe this is a time for you to take advantage of it, right? I'm not concerned with the primary market and new books. I did talk briefly about price point and storytelling, and the publishers have a lot of work to do. They've been battling this for a decade plus. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of evolving to be done, but I have faith. I do. The biggest area of concern, I'm not concerned about the variant market. The variant market is healthy. It's bringing a lot of money into the industry, and I'm not big on variants, but I'm all for it. The one area of big concern is the spec market, though. I am concerned with the spec market, especially with modern books. And I just believe there's a lot of emotion involved. There's a lot of the fight or flight FOMO. And it's really it's an addiction. It's a disease. I really believe it's a disease. And it's not just with comic books. I'm telling you, the want, gimme, fight or flight response. It's something to be concerned about. But overall, even in our times where we want to maybe throw it all away, shut it all down, it might just be good to block some things out, have a moment with yourself, reflect on what makes you happy, and come back to the hobby and understand it and see it with fresh eyes and new eyes. And I guarantee you, if you do this, the rinse, cycle, repeat, you'll continue to thrive in this hobby, and you'll continue to allow the hobby to thrive for you and all of us. So with that being said, folks, I'm going to just look, get some of these comments before we head out today. Spend your money wisely, K405, absolutely. The SHOPE, is that the SHOPE or the SHAPE? Every comic collector investor should listen to these words. Journal understands at a high level and echoes things I've been trying to tell people for years. Thank you so much for those words. I really appreciate that. You are one of the few on YouTube who not only get it, but you are willing to put it all out there. Thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It means a lot for me to hear stuff like that because, it's real to me, man. This isn't some superficial thing for me. I care about everything that I do with this channel. I care about the community. I care about the hobby, and it's much more than just making a video to make money for clicks and views, even though I got to feed my kids, right? And I'll always, through the ups and downs, I'll always love the hobby, man, and the community. I'm pretty sure Sinkovitz did a lot of LSD. Hey, Mr. I bet he did. Just appreciate your honesty and being down to earth. Keith, thank you so much. Thank you. Tomb's been picking up some small grails. I hear it, man. You guys are talking about New Mutants. Yeah, he did some great work on the New Mutant stuff. Let's see. Keith says the best thing about variants is if you don't like them, you don't have to buy them. Don't let them ruin your passion. Absolutely. I think variants actually are the most innocent thing in the hobby right now that people throw a fuss about. I don't understand why people get caught up, get their underwear in a bunch about variants if they don't collect variants, because it's like, don't get me wrong, it's crazy. 30 variants. I'm like, okay, but hey, man, it brings the publishers money. It brings the LCS's money, and it keeps people interested in the hobby. And hey, those are all positive things. K405 is sick and tired of variants and multiverse characters. And again, I understand being sick of them yourself, but yeah, just don't let it get to you. It's like I'm sick of reality TV shows. Well, I'm sick of reality TV shows, but I don't watch them, so they don't faze me, right? But I think reality TV shows are way worse than variants. Don, it's crazy how every comic is a spec special every week. It does get tiresome. And look, I understand, like, I'm very big on understanding the value in minor keys. And I think as the hobby evolves, as information becomes more and more available and instantaneous, we care about origins more. We care about the first time two characters meet more, the first crossover, and the value of those books start to go up, and they become essential books. They're key in what because we got to understand, key equate specifically to value. It just means there's something important in the book. And then we add a little value to it. So I don't mind calling them minor keys. But it's something when every week it's the same thing with more and more books, and we see more and more the huge bell-shaped curve. The highs are going higher and the dips are going lower on these types of books that people just speculate on. I'm telling you, man, I've seen some of the remember during the Loki show, there was that, because we thought that when we saw what's her name, the Enchantress, and she's a variant of Loki, a female Loki. Everyone went crazy over, it was Thor annual number 12. It was from like 1991. Thor annual 2028, I don't know. And they were like, this is the first appearance of female Loki. And all it was like 3 different stories. And in the last story, Loki shows up trying to like persuade some guy to join him to defeat Thor. And he was like, you need to do it. You need to do it. I'll force you. And he turns into a dragon. And he's like, help me defeat Thor. A big green Loki dragon. And the guy's like, you ain't scaring anybody. And then in one panel, he turns into this woman. And he's like, is this what you prefer to see? And the guy looks at him like, boom. And then he turns back to Loki. One panel of Loki turning into a woman, shape-shifting, and then turning back to Loki. And this book, that was a dollar bin book, shot up to like a $30 to $40 book for a couple of weeks. I ended up buying the book because I found it in a back issue bin for only a couple dollars. And I went on Comic Book Canon and explained exactly what I explain now. And I tossed the book across the goddamn room. No. So perspective, folks, right? Perspective. It's like, come on, use your brains. Like, so yeah, Don, I hear you, man. I hear you. Toom said, admits it connects to the addict brain. Yep. It's crazy, man. Let's see. David, buy what you love. It's that simple, but you got to know what you love. You got to understand what you love, guys. You got to ask yourself the question so you are in tune with yourself when it comes to the comic book hobby, right? Mark says, Chris is right. We are in a buyer's market. If you can, maybe look into those books you put off before. Indeed, AC, some of us are in the same situation in this hobby as yours at some point. Exactly. And that's why I decided to do what I did today for the show today. Brandon, what's up, Brandon? Variants of independent comics is where you want to buy. Well, Brandon, I think that's a very subjective comment because it depends on what you are buying for, right? Going back to buy what you love or understanding what it is that you love about the hobby, right? That's what we mean when we say flippers suck. It's not the fact that people sell and make money. It's the over exaggeration when they go to sell them. Yeah, but it's like then we turn flipper into a bad word and we stereotype it. And it's like saying all Mexicans eat beans. Or, if you want, I don't mean to get harsh, but I'm going to be real. Like, black people are thugs. Black people only live in poverty. Or all Mexicans are illegal. Or, all white people are racist. Right? Like, you can't, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Right? You can't deal in absolutes. You can't generalize. So that's why if we want to make a statement, Symbiote, we need to clarify proper context. and not generalize and stereotype. Flippers don't necessarily exaggerate. Certain individuals selling comics will exaggerate a sale in order to flip a book at any cost necessary or any means necessary, including being unethical. So you see the context there? Let's do that again. Flippers are ruining the hobby. They're all slimy, disgusting human beings. Certain individuals will be dishonest and will over exaggerate anything in order to flip and sell a book to get money in their pocket. You see the difference there? And we have to keep things in perspective like that, because again, the power of the spoken word and the power of the intent and perception of everything that we say. I like anything that gives artists work. X11, hands down. John asks, where did this style of collecting start? I don't know what style you're talking about, John, but if you're referring to speculation, it's been around since the early 70s. If anything, it was around in the late 60s as well, because you had, even in the late 60s, you had Robert Overstreet, and you had Lone Star, that's now my comic shop, creating their first back issue list, realizing that old comics gain value, right? So it's nothing new, but I think Matthew made a comment here about YouTube and social media. YouTube and social media, while it's a very powerful thing, but power can, absolute power corrupts absolutely. We can use it for good or we can use it for the opposite. And I just think that people dive into social media for the wrong reasons and get influenced in the wrong way. Independent comics will hire independent artists. I want the old Peach, not the new Peach. You know what? Some of Peach's stuff is great. Some of it I'm not a fan of. But I hear what you're saying about independent artists, Brandon. That's dope. Tomb, congrats on 10 years of no drinking. Flippers are only bad when they sell you a book and the book drops. There's no problem when your book goes up in value. Doom Space Marine, ain't that the truth? For me, a seller is only unethical if they are not honest. Look, I sold a Wonder Man #1 on my Whatnot sale on Thursday. No, Tuesday, a few days ago. It sold for $20. It was a near mint copy. It sold for $20, poster included. I do believe that book is going to drop back down. It didn't even get to auction. I set my price lower than recent eBay sold, lower than the majority of buy it nows on eBay at that time, and lower than my comic shop in that grade. I set my buy it now price lower than all those. I was going to start my starting bid at $5. And if it would have sold for $5, $6, I would have been completely fine with it. It's not my fault that it sold for $20. Somebody was willing to pay that still. Funny thing enough, I even talked about it on my top 10 props or flops the day before, telling everyone I wouldn't buy this comic right now. That's how transparent I am. I told everyone, I got this book up for sale. While I think it's a low risk book, I wouldn't buy it right now. But I'm all about ethics and honesty. Yep. Yeah, Kill Heart. I hear you. I've been to the little Mile High location, but not their big warehouse. So, folks, it has been an awesome stream tonight. It's been an awesome audience. I really appreciate all of you for being here tonight. I think it was almost therapy for me tonight, guys. And I hope that my own personal experiences and connecting that with other collectors' experiences allowed us to kind of really shed some of that weight, shed some of that heaviness and try to like recenter ourselves when it comes to this hobby and looking at it with that the fresh breath of fresh air and that fresh eyes and everything. So I definitely encourage everyone to continue to try to do that, to continue to love the hobby in the way that you love it. There is something out there for everyone. For everyone. All right. And the market's going to perpetuate what we drive it to do. So keep that in mind, guys. So again, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, I am here making content almost every single day of the week. We will have our Comic Book Canon show 2 days from now on Sunday. Our Comic Book Canon YouTube link is below. Please give us a sub there. We do a monthly slab giveaway on the show too. It's a fun thing. We have a segment called Fresh from the Comic Shop where all of you guys in the community can participate in the show and have a chance to win a slab every month. So hope to see you guys on the show on the Canon on Sunday. And again, look out. Go follow me on the Whatnot app at Journals Comics. The link is below. If you use that link to sign up, if you don't have the app yet, you will get $10 off of your first purchase from the app. Doesn't need to be for me. July 22nd, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern will be my massive Spider-Man themed sale. Keys, minor keys, silver, copper, modern books of sorts. I will be adding buy it now books in almost every single day for the next 3 weeks for you guys to look at for the option of buying the buy it now. So again, thank you guys, Don. It was so awesome to have you hanging out today, guys. If you're not subbed to Don Comic Book Junkie, he's the epitome of a guy in his comics, man. And I'll say it. I'll say it until the day if Journos Comics ever ceases to be a channel. Don will always be at the root of me being here. So Don, I always appreciate you, man. Mr. Artist Dude, thank you guys so much. X11, you guys are awesome. Again, please enjoy the fireworks, enjoy the celebration with your family. Remember what it means, and please be safe. And again, I ain't lying, guys. I ain't lying. If you are in my hood, hit me up because you ain't getting behind that wheel, man. If you've been drinking, hit me up. Give me some fader on the Petro, and we're all good. All right? Be well, guys. Till next time. Peace.